as mentioned, Jeff and I are going to dive deep into what's happening right now with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, a social media slugfest. But we did want to touch on one aspect of Trump's one big, beautiful bill.
The bill is passed,
Which is largely responsible for the feud. First, namely the inclusion, which has been big news the past few weeks, of a provision that bans AI regulation at the state and local level for a full decade.
Yeah, it's crazy. And before we get into that, I just want to say that there's two things about this that need to be set up front. So omnibus bills like this, where they cram in a ton of different legislation into one big bill, so you don't get a chance to vote on it line by line. Total abuse of power should be avoided. They get used too often, but legislatures should be able to vote on these things one at a time, not a million of them in one big, beautiful bill. Two, how can a government expect to be treated seriously when they literally name their omnibus bill the, quote, One Big Beautiful Bill Act? That's the actual name. Anyway, one of the many dumb ideas stuffed into this bill is a 10-year ban on states regulating AI, which I'm not alone in thinking that this is a very bad move, given that more than 260 state legislatures have also signed a letter opposing it.
Yeah, this is what I don't understand. It's really hard to imagine why a government would want to prevent any states from being able to put protections for consumers in place. And those protections are, of course, against harmful AI applications. And unfortunately, it's pretty easy to imagine, given the enormous contributions companies engaged in AI have made to the Trump presidency. This is a huge issue. One of the godfathers of AI here in Canada has pointed out, and I quote from the Financial Times, "There's unfortunately a very competitive race between the leading labs, which pushes them towards focusing on capability to make AI more and more intelligent, but not necessarily putting enough emphasis on investment on research and safety."
No kidding. And Yashua is one of many people involved in launching a nonprofit called Law Zero that's actually focused on building safer AI systems in the face of all the concerning recent behavior by AI models, much of which we've covered right here on the AmberMac show.
Yeah, we should say too, right? There are more and more people who are raising alarms about AI safety. Even CEO of Google's AI research arm, DeepMind, has said he's worried about a lack of guardrails to keep AI models under control. And we hear this all the time, all over the world, especially in the EU. Now, sticking on the topic of artificial intelligence, it looks like Reddit is suing Anthropic for using Reddit user data to train Anthropic's AI models.
Yeah, it sure is. And we've seen a bunch of different publishers and content creators sue AI companies over this kind of thing in the past. But this is actually the very first big tech company to sue over AI training data. And I hope there's more to come in the face of these AI companies essentially stealing data without paying for it so that they themselves can make more money. And speaking of big tech companies and exciting news, Amazon has recently announced that it's starting to test humanoid robots for package delivery.
I have to say, it is nice to see some news about non-military robots because, of course, when we talk about robots in the military, it is very concerning. Now, I can't see a lot of harm coming from this. Of course, there will be job displacement, which is an issue worth discussing. And it seems as though humans will still be driving these Amazon vans and that these robots will help to deliver the packages from the van to the customer's door. Amazon has even built an indoor obstacle course for the robots in San Francisco to train them. And Jeff, I think we need an immediate invite to see that.
Yes, I would love to see that. I'm sure they'll be releasing something on it, but yeah, that seems pretty cool. Frankly, if they could just program these robots to ring my freaking doorbell when they drop off a package so I know it's there, then I'd be totally supportive of this move. I don't know why human delivery people have such a problem doing this, but how many times are you sitting at home waiting for a package that gets delivered without a sound and then you find it hours later, usually in the rain? So I think the robots could actually deliver a better experience on this than a lot of the human drivers are, who are doing, a lot of them are doing just sort of gig jobs. I get why they're not taking it as the most serious thing in the world, but maybe this is actually an area where the robots can really help.
Well, I think that you might be underestimating how many people would tamper with the robots when they came to their door. So I just want to make that very clear. Now, in other news involving transportation, Uber has introduced a new type of account for seniors that provides a simpler app experience through its accessibility settings. Now, Uber has a few different accounts. They have teen accounts. It's great to see something that is really focused on seniors because we know seniors, Jeff, are using Uber to get to doctor's appointments. Maybe they aren't able to drive anymore. So I know you love user experience stories. What do you think about this one?
I honestly, this is kind of great. I'd love to see more of it for both, like you say, seniors, youth accounts. Those things make total sense. All users aren't the same. They've got different needs, and older users have some very specific needs. Obviously, younger users, you may want to hide from certain types of content. Older users have different requirements. So these senior accounts in Uber, they can do the typical things like making text bigger and all that sort of stuff. But it lets you seniors more easily see ride updates for the family. They can use their family members' credit cards for payments and other things like that just by going into the accessibility settings and turning their account into a senior's account. So yeah, let's see more of that. I think that's better for users, and it's probably better for the companies involved too to be given a better experience than having poor seniors completely lost in a really dense interface that they're like, I just want to do one thing here. Can it be easier to do it? It can, and I'm hoping that that's exactly what Uber's doing here.
Yeah, and I love that they focus on the accessibility side of this, right? I mean, just making this tech more accessible for more people. So really, really cool. And I do believe this is available in Canada because, like I said, I've chatted about this on a recent media tour that we did where we were talking about seniors tech. So really cool addition. Now we're going to stick with car tech. Volvo has just released a new multi-adaptive safety belt system for use in upcoming models that uses information like the seatbelt wearer's height, their weight, their body shape, along with data from exterior sensors that helps really to optimize protection. This is so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, very interesting, and actually also very interesting is that. Did you know Volvo is actually the creator of the modern 3-point safety belt that we all use? It was introduced in 1959. So they've got a lot of history in this area. But yeah, there's not too many details out. Some people I saw online asking like, oh, will this adapt to like a woman's body versus a man's body, given the differences there? How far will this go? So it would be really interesting to see the results. However, unlike that classic seatbelt that Volvo introduced way back in 1959, it's not clear whether Volvo will share this particular patent with other automakers, but I'd love to see that happen. As anything that can make us all more safe would be wonderful. So good for Volvo for doing this, and let's see how they take the next steps.
Yeah, Volvo has been first over the years with so many advancements when it comes to safety. I don't know if you knew this, but in the 1990s, they were actually first to use female or small-sized crash test dummies in their safety tests. So really, really cool that they've always been a leader in this area as well.
Yeah, and historically, there's so many people who would make the choice to buy a Volvo because of those safety features. So yeah, that reputation's been with them for a while, and for a good reason.